Let's go.
not be.
The only reason I'm saying that is because I'm pretty sure that no one can hear us. Even if they can, hopefully it's just a funny anecdote. Can we be heard? The YouTube chat, that's what I'm asking. We can see that Becky, you've already tried to make contact with the YouTube chat, and no one has notified us that they can hear us yet. I'm guessing, Steve, that they still can't. Oh, we can. So people can hear us. Is that what we're saying? Am I about to get excited? Okay, I'm going to guess that people can hear us, Becky. So if we're going to start the stream again, effectively, because there's a good chance that no one has been able to listen to us for the entirety of this stream. And there we go. Louis says they can hear us now. Could you hear us for the entirety of the stream, or is it just the last 5-10 minutes, or have you not been once able to hear us? That's what we want to know, because otherwise I will reintroduce the stream. I will reintroduce myself, because I sound nothing like Richard John Neal, and you may not know what you're looking at. It's fantastic that we were able to finally get some interaction on the YouTube chat, though. This is why it's better doing it this way on the YouTube than the likes of normal broadcasts, because you don't get to interact with the audience, and it really is frustrating when you don't get to do that. If you haven't been able to hear what we've been saying, welcome to the VRRC World Endurance League. We're back for another championship, another iteration of the World Endurance League, and fingers crossed, another exciting finale in about 8 rounds time. No, only just started. Thank you very much, Nikki, for the feedback. You may well have seen all the graphics before we went live into the racing. You may well have seen an extended period of time where me and Becky were just talking to ourselves, apparently, through that entire time. But I'll explain what you missed as we go through, because, of course, there is still action out there on circuit we need to be keeping an eye out on. And is that Ollie Atkins going for a move on Jack Angel, which is not for 3rd place, despite what the graphic on the left-hand side of your screen is indicating, because sometimes when we go over timing belts and stuff like that, it just messes up with the on-screen leaderboard. It's in fact a battle for all the way down in, I believe, sort of 9th and 8th place. In fact, that's Ollie Atkins in 11th place, so it is the battle for 9th. I believe, anyway, in front of us. It's quite confusing, this, Becky. But my name is Jack Oliphant. I'm joined by Becky Aparicio. And Becky, we've said this 1,000 times already this stream, but we're looking forward to this race series. Great cars, great tracks, and fantastic set of drivers.
Yeah, really looking forward to this. Unfortunately, everybody at home, you've missed some commentary gold from me and Jack, I'm just saying. But yeah, we've been talking about how much we're looking forward to how this unfolds, as we always are with any race series that we've got. We've delved into a little bit about, obviously, the race formats and stuff like that, so we will cover that again at some point. But like Jack says, because we've got action on track at the moment, we'll probably focus more on this, and we will focus on all the kind of technicalities and stuff like that at later points, or pop it into our commentary here and there. So we've had a good battle between Jack Smith and Chris Blakey as he's edging closer, but it seems to be like Chris has been pulling them forward to catch up with Ollie Gibson again. So this could all unfold maybe quite nicely for Jack if Ollie wants to give his brother a little hand and help out a little bit, but it looks like he's gone wide round that corner again. Sorry, that seems to be a bit of a commentary curse there. Sorry, Ollie. So it seemed like, yeah, he went a bit wide round that corner, whether it was to bring him back in.
3 wide, Becky, going into T1. You said that's where we might end up seeing a lot of overtakes. I didn't think we'd see 2 in 1, but Jack Smith has tried to make his move not only on the opposition in front of him and Chris Blakey, but Oliver Gibson as well. And Oliver Gibson has been left trying to mop up what can only be described as a bit of a disaster corner for him, because he's dropped from 3rd down to 5th, exactly where he was a couple of laps ago, as Jack Smith and Chris Blakey yet again go wheel to wheel. Now, this ended badly a couple of laps ago. That's why they dropped behind Oliver Gibson in the first place. It was Chris Blakey leading Jack Smith at that particular point. It's now going wheel to wheel, and they're doing this entire lap almost door handle to door handle. It looks like Chris Blakey's just about got through on Jack Smith, but wow, what a double move on Oliver Gibson. And I have to say, Becky, Oliver did well not to throw his toys out the pram and end up just turning in to try and get that apex.
Yeah, no, he's sticking with them as well, so it's so easy to, again, yeah, see a bit of red and just think, oh no, I've really messed that up. And yeah, let the frustration get the better of you. And as all these drivers will probably know and do anyway, it's
I don't know if we've just lost Becky there. She cut out for me momentarily. Apologies if you can hear her and I'm now...
yours hasn't.
Oh, Becky, are you back with us?
I'm back. I think I've gone a bit robotic, and I've got a thunderstorm, I think, about to go over my head, so that might be causing me a few issues.
We are having...
I am.
A world of technical issues today, aren't we? Ladies and gentlemen, if you missed earlier on, I was struggling to get online. I only basically get online as we were talking, so Becky had to take over for me at the beginning. The server needed restarting. We've had issues with the commentary. Becky is now in Armageddon somewhere or at a thunderstorm, and it's all going a little bit. It's all been a bit testing, shall we say? One driver it hasn't been testing for though is Gabriel Norse, who is leading this pack. Very, very handily, shall we say. I was going to say easily, but actually it wasn't easy in those first 5-10 minutes, was it, Becky? He had to really fight hard, not only to get the lead on the first corner, but then also keep it from Jack and Chris. It was only their contact that really gave him the breathing room that we've seen from him at the moment. But his lap times are still very good, very consistent. They're in the 1:53s. Chris Blakey and Jack Smith, they're in the 1:54s. Oliver Gibson in the 1:55s. That's their last lap. Fastest laps, that's still Gabriel Norse's 1:53.3. Actually, no, I tell a lie. My apologies. Chris Blakey, I've done you dirty there. 1:53.2 for Chris Blakey. So he still holds that purple lap time, but it means nothing to him if he can't get onto that top step of the podium. He won't care about fastest laps. He cares about points on the board. Speaking of points on the board, I said earlier, but no one was here to listen to me. Well, you were here to listen to me, but you couldn't hear me. That championship points-wise, a driver who comes out with the weekend on top will receive 45 points. Second place, 40 points. Third place, 36 points. And they go all the way down to 24th, which eagle-eyed viewers amongst you may well notice we don't have 24 drivers here today, so we'll just go down to 22 with 3 points. So pretty much everybody gets some points out of this race and keeps their championship hopes alive, even if it is even slightly slimmer towards the bottom end of the table. So that is how the championship points work. There is ballast as well, but to be honest, Becky, the best thing about people not being able to hear us in that sort of 5 to 10 minute period where we were struggling to load into the server means that we haven't wasted all our filler content. And if the race gets a bit boring in the second race, when there's half an hour and there's a little bit of a low time in the middle, we can bring out that filler content again. But it's not needed right now because Lee Pearcey absolutely lunges on Mason Turner, I believe that was. And it's always hard to figure out who is who when it comes to a new championship, new liveries, and the leaderboard doesn't really want to play part in it as well. But a really nice lunge there by Lee Pearcey, but it didn't come off. It was a long way back, Becky. It was always going to be a bit ambitious.
Yeah, it was a very tight opening there. So pleased it didn't end up too drastic for either driver, but has left Lee vulnerable to. Again, I'm not too sure. I'm going to say it's Kieran Haynes behind him. If he's got Mason Turner in front of him again, the timing screen is really.
I figured it out, Becky. It's Ollie Atkins ahead of him. It's Mason Turner behind him. They look very similar.
Thank you very much. So yeah, probably in the same team. I think we've got 2 Swift Cooper teams. So yeah, 4 drivers in total racing under kind of a collective team name, which is why you'll probably see 4 cars looking very similar in their livery. So pleased we've cleared that up. We were mentioning when nobody could hear us, Mason Turner. You said you didn't recognise the name. It turns out he'd joined us for the Formula Ford 1600, so a few race series ago. But he's obviously he didn't join us last race series, but he's back for this one. So whether he had other commitments or didn't quite fancy doing the head-to-heads, but it's good to have him back, and he's putting in some good performances already. So be interesting to see what this season has in store for him. So again, just back to the timing screen. Don't pay too much attention to that at the moment, everybody, and think all of a sudden, because we keep seeing Gabriel Norse all of a sudden drop and then go back, and then somebody else end up in first place, and it's pretty settled somewhat at the moment in terms of our positions. We've got a few kind of battles between a couple of drivers midfield, and Jack Smith is still desperately trying to get past Chris Blakey. I'm not too sure if Ollie Gibson had a bit of a moment earlier, because he's definitely dropped off the back of Jack Smith
Yeah.
and Chris Blakey, so he's not in that battle anymore. I think when the timing screen was showing me some sort of useful information, he was about 6 seconds off, so it seemed like maybe he had an off. Again, I don't know if that can be trusted in terms of timing, but he definitely had dropped off the back of the pack.
Yeah, Oliver Gibson, he's now 8 seconds off the back of Jack Smith, which is a bit heartbreaking for him because he was running well in that sort of area as Lee Pearcey goes a little bit wide. Now, if you're wondering, I've sort of given you a bit of a cheat code in the YouTube chat. I've sent you a link in the YouTube chat. If you click that, I don't know if you can click links on YouTube chats, or paste that into a browser, that will actually bring up our timing screen that we use as commentators. So it's very good. The drivers use it as well. Massive lunge, massive contact. Mason Turner, he may well have been away for VRRC, but I think he's going to feel the wrath of a penalty after that one. It was a little bit too far back. Lee Pearcey maybe left a little bit too much room, but he didn't deserve to be hit off that badly. That's a bit of a shame, as Ollie Atkins now drives away with no pressure from behind whatsoever. He's got a huge gap to Kieran Haynes behind them, and it's pretty easy last 9 minutes or so for Ollie Atkins. Doubt he's going to catch it to Oliver Gibson, but as Becky's just mentioned, Oliver hasn't really had the best run of it so far in the past 5 minutes or so. Two drivers are having an entertaining run, if not fastest. It is Jack Smith and Chris Blakey. Chris Blakey in the Aston Martin on the outside. There's Jack Smith, moves himself up into second place. Been a long time coming, that one, hasn't it, Becky? He was second in the first lap, but not since halfway through that particular opener has he been in the position he is now, and he hunts the Gabriel Norse, the Super Touring Car champion, all the way down. 8.5 minutes to go. What do you reckon is the chances here?
Again, I normally say you can't put anything past Jack Smith. He will push and push and push, and he has closed down some big gaps before. But I reckon Gabriel Norse has got this in the bag. Hopefully not jinxed him there. And just because he's still, again, Jack's got a battle with Chris still. Chris is still right behind him, and he's not going to let this go that easy. It took probably longer than Jack was hoping to get past him. But patience paid off then for him. So he was just waiting for the perfect time to do it, and then try to build enough gap so he doesn't get too much of retaliation from Chris. But like I say, Chris is still right behind him, and will probably keep going. He's still got just under 8 minutes to make a move and make it stick. And again, if you time it right and you can get it on the last corner, just before that pit straight. I'm not too sure how speeds work out in these cars. I haven't actually researched that. That's bad of me to know who's got the bigger top end speed. They're going to be very similar. They're all kind of balanced to be really similar based cars. But if one's just got an edge, if they'll be able to make a bit of a drag race out of it right at the end.
A bit of a cheat code, I always think, Becky, is when I have a question like that, where I'm thinking the discrepancies between the cars, because obviously we're not expected to know everything. We haven't actually driven these cars yet. One driver who is nearly always on the podium and is willing to answer questions about it, is Jack Smith. So I will incorporate that into my questions of Jack, who, fingers crossed, will be on the podium come the last 7 minutes time, because he is in the podium position. So something pretty big would have to happen for him to fall out of favour of that second place. And I'm quite excited to see what he's going to come round and do that last lap in. I'm just having a look. The last lap from Gabriel Norse was a 153.9. Jack Smith was a 153.7. Chris Blakey was a 155, hence why you're seeing a reasonably big gap. It wasn't that Jack Smith has unlocked a massive amount of time, because 153.7 is roughly what we were expecting of these guys at this point in the race, but it's more the fact that Chris Blakey has made some kind of mistake somewhere. Not quite as bad maybe as Oliver Gibson did, but still. Mason Turner and Lee Pearcey are still pretty much next to each other, and the way I know that is because my incident screen is lighting up, and this potentially is the reason why. I think that's Mason Turner in the Aston Martin, because it was, yeah, I think it is, isn't it? Again, Ollie Atkins I think is in the BMW, so of a similar coloured car. But this is Mason Turner now down in 11th place, with Lee Pearcey just a couple of positions ahead of them. And Kieran Haynes, in fact, on your screen with Gillian Christian. Running very well, Gillian. I remember when they started appearing in VRRC, very much near the back. of the races with Gillian, but nice to see them really push forward and almost cracking into the top 5 actually. Ollie Atkins a little bit, further ahead, but 6th place is very, very respectable indeed, especially against what has been a feisty set of drivers just inside that top 10. So as we're on board with Kieran Haynes, it's interesting to see what he can see in that rear view mirror, not a mirror at all, obviously, a rear view screen. I don't know, Becky, I find it I'm watching the screen and it's incredibly distracting. I can't imagine what it's like to actually drive one of these damn things. I know you just get focused, I know you just look forward, but I would end up looking at that screen more than I think I should. Is it as distracting as that whenever you've been on the sim?
Again, I tend to just do hot laps on the sim. I'm not quite brave enough to go full on racing or put anybody through me being on a track with them. But in terms of being out on track and having the ability to be able to see people coming up quite quick behind you, or that closing gap speed and stuff like that, it can be quite off-putting, especially when you're getting used to it and then thinking, well, are they going to brake in time? Are they going to lock up? Are they going to go into the back of me? It's all stuff that you'll probably have to train yourself to not think about, not worry too much about, but it does then heighten your senses of, again, there's somebody coming to attack me. I need to defend. I need to defend my position, make sure I'm racing nicely, getting all my apexes where they need to be, the right lines out the corners. So it all kind of adds to it. As much as you say, oh yeah, I'm kind of the blinkers are on, I'm not focused, you again, you have to be aware of what's going on around you as well. And that's why you see again in touring cars, everybody flashes their lights. Again, in a lot of races in World Endurance League, when you're coming up behind a slower car, they flash like mad. So it's all kind of, you're going to be aware of it. It's not a case of just, oh yeah, out of sight, out of mind type of thing. Especially when you say it is more of a screen on there. So whether it's because it's kind of right in line with your steering wheel as well with these cars, it's going to be a lot more noticeable, I think, for the drivers, rather than just having the good old-fashioned rear view mirror above you, which you kind of have to glance up at. This is very much in your field of view, especially when you're looking everywhere on the track when you're racing. So I'm sure it will play into it a bit. I know other drivers will probably play it down and be like, oh no, it's fine, I never notice it. But like just saying, Christian, great performance, good to have him back, because he actually took a little bit of a break, because I believe, if I'm right in thinking, it was when I first joined VRRC doing the commentary, he fractured his wrist, I believe. So good to have him back. And also, and again, another mention then for somebody else that was injured, good to have John Jones back on the grid as well, because I think he broke his foot or his ankle as well. So good to have him back, and I know it's not causing too much harm on hopefully the recovered foot or ankle.
Yeah, fingers crossed. I mean, hitting those brakes are quite difficult, to be fair, at some points, but hopefully it's the left foot maybe, so we can get away with some right foot braking, even if you're not supposed to in these cars. At least you still be able to get out there and participate. Jack Smith is feeling it. He's feeling something. He's getting something in the air, because on that previous lap, he set purple sector 1. He went off the track in sector 2. He was pushing a little bit too hard forward, but he set another purple sector 3. That was in the previous lap. A 53.2 is the fastest lap now for Jack Smith, and it was ineligible for the fastest lap because he went off and caused a off-track infringement in sector 2. But that is technically faster than Gabriel Norris has been managed to put together this entire race. The gap is now under 4 seconds, and I believe we've only got a minute and a half left to go, which means I'm hyping something up that probably doesn't have time to manufacture itself into. But it just goes to show that when Jack Smith gets going, he is still just as fast to chase down pretty much anybody in this particular championship. But well done to Gabriel Norris, Becky, because ultimately a gap was there to be managed, and a managed gap it has been. It's been incredibly impressive, given the fact that most of this half an hour of the session has been qualifying laps or practice laps, whatever you want to call it. He's been just chilling as he's going round, isn't he? And he's been still very quick.
Yeah, our reigning super touring car champion is proven why he did so well in the last race series. And again, he's always so cool and calm and collected whenever he comes on for an interview as well. Oh, and that was a tap to the back from Kieran Haynes into the back of
Gillian.
That's such a shame, because again, he was doing so well, and like you said, was just knocking on the edge of the top 5 finish as well. So that is a real shame for Christian there. And that's got to be frustrating. As much as, again, you do put it behind you. Some of the times these things happen, but that was very unlucky for him.
Well, 20 seconds left to go on to the final lap. There's not much time for them to put it behind them, is there? I imagine he'll be absolutely fuming in the cockpit of his sim. And Kieran Haynes, if he wants to stave off a potential penalty, will have to drop behind Gillian. But it doesn't look like he wants to lose that many places. He's going to run the risk of the steward's inquiry instead. This is Jack Smith, but he is not the overall leader as we're going into the final corner. Gabriel Norse is that leader. Has done absolutely everything right, got the lead off the line through the first corner, and has managed it since then. There's been contacting chaos behind them, but opening this World Endurance League, Gabriel Norse crosses the line to take the top step of the podium. Jack Smith comes home in second place. He spent the majority of it in third, but that place has been taken up by Chris Blakey, who I have to say impressed me immensely through the majority of that 30-minute race. Oliver Gibson will come home in fourth place. Once upon a time in second. A couple of mistakes too many for Oliver Gibson. I'm sure fourth place won't be too bad for him. As Ollie Atkins survived pressure for midway through the race, comes home to take fifth position, with Mason Turner, who has been in the wars, shall we say, is going to finish off in sixth position. Jack Angel in seventh. Lee Piercy, who was in the wars with him, is in eighth. Gillian Christian, sorry, I should say, in ninth. And Kieran Haynes has dropped behind Gillian to finish in 10th. Wow, drama at the beginning, Becky, drama at the end. We absolutely love a World Endurance League here at VRRC. We'll be back to interview the top 3 drivers after this short advert break.
Early stages of the second Legend Stars race.
Well, we are back, and we have drivers in the commentary box. It's one of the favourite times for me of the entire evening, because we get a little bit more of an insight about what on earth went on in the drivers' heads as we saw them create chaos and come home to glory at the end of that initial World Endurance League round 1. I can say that we haven't got third place Chris Blakey in just yet, although as I say that, he spawns in out of nowhere. Chris Blakey, I realise you have got the server to be dealing with at the same time, so are you ready for your interview, or do you want me to give you a couple of minutes?
I don't know what's happening. We're here. Yeah, we're here. That was fun. I think the server's kicking around. Apologies to anybody watching that it is not doing its job. But yeah.
Well, Chris, while you sort of make sure you figure out what's going on, you had an absolute ding-dong of a battle, didn't you, between Jack Smith and yourself. I can imagine, from our perspective, it was very enjoyable to watch. I can't imagine the smile you must have had for the majority of that one with that particular battle.
Yeah, that was. I completely messed the start up. I'll admit that. I thought I had my double clutches set right. I did not. I forgot how to do launch control, so I just sent it. And yeah, messed the start up completely. Guys got away, but once the tyres kicked in, it was good. Started fighting back, and I made a couple of mistakes. Jack got past, Ollie got past, and then just had to fight back. I think we went 3 wide for about 3 cores. 3 corners at one point. It was great fun, really great fun. Proper good racing, proper close. It was a slight touch, but that is what it is. It happens. But
I was going to ask, what was that contact between you and Jack from your perspective like?
I was about to turn, and I think Jack had turned, and it was just a case of 2 cars don't get to 1. So it was racing incident. I would like to put that down to, but we'll leave it up to the clerk of the course to see what he says. But then, yeah, great battle. Start to fight back towards Gabriel, and then I mean, a couple of mistakes, as is me. Jack got past me, and then directly at 22 minutes, the tyres dropped like a stone, and yeah, just battled on. You see my times dropping off, but yeah, held on for third. I'm well happy with that. Well,
you should be. It was very impressive indeed, Chris. I'm going to let you go and focus on the server. But is there anybody you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you?
My beautiful fiancée Beck somewhere, and my 2 sponsors, Neil Harker Limited Engineering and Happy Days Holiday Retreat in Woodall, who I would not be racing in the real world without. So many thanks to those 2.
Absolutely love it. Well done, Chris, and I'm sure we'll be speaking to you again soon.
Fingers crossed. Cheers all. Bye.
On to second place, which was, of course, the driver we probably speak to most of all here. It's Jack Smith. Jack, how the devil are we after that one?
Not bad, mate. Really warm. I haven't got a fan. I forgot to plug it in, so that's my job for the next race.
Rookie error, but okay.
Yeah, it was a bit. I thought leaving the door open might help, but there's just no draft, so it's not helped at all. But yeah, no. Yeah, it was good. It was really good. Race was great. I think we had really good pace towards the end. I think we were the fastest car on the circuit at the end, so that was good to know for the next one. The tyres are really sketchy, so I just sort of looked after him a little bit too much at the start. Gabe got away, me and Chris battled, and then lost touch with him. But I gained, I think it was like 2 seconds or something back on him near the end there. Yeah, just a bit too far away for me, I'm afraid. So yeah, we'll try again next time.
It was very entertaining battle to watch, and if there was 5 more minutes, I think I might have got a little bit more excited towards the end there, but it is what it is. I mean, I wanted to ask you, Jack, because you're the driver who will have driven these cars more than anybody, what are the little intricacies that we should be looking out for between the 3, obviously the BMW, McLaren and the Aston Martin?
So when I tested these at Le Mans, when I tested them at Silverstone, the BM seems to be really on the nose. It's you know, it's either, well, it's like at both ends. So people either set it up really understeery, or like I have it really on the nose, and the car just sort of really wants to spin out at any opportunity. So yeah, you got to manage it, but if you can manage it, it's quite fast. I think me and Gabe are on that now, and I think Ollie's on the same setup that I am on. So yeah, we've got that sort of style setup going, and yeah, the Aston is more conservative. It's a little bit easier to drive. It's easier to get the pace out of it, but as you saw with Chris, the tyres do drop off, so you have to make the most of it at the start of the race. And then the McLaren's like sort of the best of both worlds. It's got, you know, it's not as understeery as the Aston, but again, it's got that little bit of looseness to it that you can really hack away at it. And yeah, I've tested all these cars that are within, you know, a tenth of each other around Silverstone and Le Mans. So I mean, yeah, they are as close as they can be by also being different at the same time. So yeah, they're quality cars. So yeah, keep an eye out for that in the races.
It does sound like extremely interesting as we go through the season. It'll be fascinating to watch. Jack, we haven't got loads of time left, actually, so we're going to have to bid you adieu, say well done. And is there anybody you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Yeah, just a quick shout out to everyone that gets me, really. My girlfriend, everyone at DK Power that gets the Hopposaurus for this season onto the grid. We only got different ones. The Hopposaurus, sponsored by the Hop Cabin. And big shout out to Lee and everyone there. They're watching at the minute. So yeah, shout out to my family and everyone who's down there at the minute, watching live from the Hop Cabin, enjoying a few beers and watching some great racing. So always good to have you all in the car and watching the racing in the Hop Cabin. So yeah, shout out to all you guys.
Big up. Thank you very much there, Jack Smith. Congratulations on the second place. I'm sure we'll be talking to you again soon.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
And finally, for the last couple of minutes, I'm going to actually pass over the mic to Becky Aparicio, who's going to be interviewing the driver who's on the top step of the podium, Gabriel Norris. Becky, over to you.
Hi, Gabe. Congratulations on first place. It's a good way to start off a new race series as our reigning Super Touring Car Champion. How was that for you? It probably was actually more eventful at the beginning, and then quite a nice drive for the rest of it.
Yeah, it was quite an enjoyable race. I mean, at the start, I got into the lead with a mega launch, and then on the second lap, I think the slipstream really kicked in for Jack because he caught me extremely quick. But once I was able to get past him, I saw that they had an instant behind, and I was just able to break away. And yeah, I mean, towards the end, Jack was extremely quick. So I just need to kind of watch out for that in race 2.
Yeah, well, he was giving away some of his tricks of the trade there with the tyre talk, so it seemed like he was a bit more conservative, so I'm sure we can expect him to maybe go a bit more eagerly next race. So yeah, definitely something to look out for. How were your tyres holding up? Were they dropping off towards the end? Did you have any moments midway that you thought, oh, I don't know if they're gonna hang on, or were they all actually all right for you and car handled well?
I mean, especially around this track, you have the left-hand side just heats up like crazy, and it doesn't really get a rest around the track. So, I mean, my front left was completely dead by the end of that one, and I think virtually everyone else's were. So, I mean, it's just, I think I managed decently in that one, just need to manage a bit better in the next one if I want to beat Jack.
You know, definitely didn't seem like you had a major drop off of pace or anything, so you kept it nice and consistent. So that's always a bad thought for everybody else on the grid, because that means you've settled well into this car. Was it always going to be the BMW for you? Did you obviously have a go in the other ones, or was you just straight away like, no, this is my car?
I tried the other two, and I felt like the Aston and McLaren didn't really suit how I like to set up the car. So I mean, the BM seemed like quite a decent pick, and I've seen that most other people have gone with it, so it seems pretty quick out there. So hopefully it should be pretty decent throughout the season.
Yeah, well, it looks like a great fun car to drive. So good luck for the rest of this evening, and obviously the rest of the championship. Hopefully you'll be able to gain another championship to add to your name. But yeah, like I say, congratulations. Any shout outs before you get ready for your second race?
Anyone who's watching this because of me, it means a lot to me. So yeah, thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Gabe. We'll probably speak to you a little bit later on. So yeah, good luck for the next 2 races.
Thank you.
So we are getting ready for our second race. I'm going to do a little bit of filling here.
I am back. Sorry, Becky. I've literally just
lovely.
walked in. My apologies there. I also don't have any water. I don't have any internet. I don't have any water. It's a bad evening to be near my house today.
But it's not just us having the technical issues either. Jack, again, with no fan and stuff. Also, a quick shout out as well. We've got another injured driver. Jack Agnall is racing with a broken collarbone.
Oh,
that's how serious our drivers take it. So yeah, well done. Some good performances in there. Then I'd just be curled up on the sofa being like, somebody look after me.
Yeah, that's what people should be. But obviously, the will to win race weekends or race evenings, I should say, actually, it comes out stronger than that. You know what? I bet they're trying to. I don't know how old Jack is actually, but if I was a teenager, I'm going to guess they're a teenager because a lot of esports drivers that we have here at VRRC do end up being teenagers these days. I would absolutely be trying to get that days off school, you know, for that collarbone, but then instantly in the evening be like, oh yeah, no, I think I can race. Next day. Oh, it's too sore to go back to school. Yeah, no, I'll be definitely pulling that one.
Surely you can use it as strength training, no?
Yeah, it's basically physio, isn't it? I believe VRRC. Maybe that should be a new strain of VRRC, actually, physio training for injured bodies, because I think we'd make quite a lot of money out of that one. It's pronounced Angel. It's pronounced Angel. My apologies.
For the correction.
Yeah, my apologies. I did a full hot fuzz there, didn't I? I think I said Jack Angle or something like that. So I do apologise about that one. Jack Angel. It was the double L's throwing me off a little bit. So he's 14. I was right. As we do get a younger cohort coming through to carry on the VRRC sort of generations. And it's amazing, really, actually, in sim racing, how you do have different generations all racing against each other. And we'll get onto that maybe a little later on, because we have a second race to be getting on with. And as the engine notes rise, the lights are coming on. And we do have a second race here at the VRRC World Endurance League at Losail in Dubai, Qatar, I should say, actually. And there seems to be a little bit of chaos in that mid-pack. But as we head down towards the first corner, I should say, you can see Killian Christian on the outside trying to find some space. There's a lot of space, but I'm not entirely sure it's the fastest, as Ollie Atkins goes round and heads into the wall, and he will be rotating towards the rear end of the circuit now, or rear end of the pack, I should say, for the rest of this race. Jack Dickerson in first place, Sam Gumbley in second, with Jacob Lander in third, Sam Walton in fourth, and Andy Dorman in fifth place. The ever-present Andy Dorman. Absolutely love the fact that he's still racing with VRRC, always there. And Gillian Christian, we mentioned, Becky, that it was a bit heartbreaking to see them ended up being turned around on that final lap of race one. But another half an hour stint to go. It's difficult to shake that one off, isn't it? But it's absolutely crucial that they do.
Yeah, he probably wanted it to be a minute less on that last race, because he would have finished in P6. So fingers crossed it turns out well for him for this race. Because it's only right, isn't it? That's him going for a dive up the inside of Andy Dorman. And yeah, brief mention of Andy Dorman. He was very sort of low-lying in the last race series. He was always putting in good performances, always kind of lurking in the background, and he's cut that corner just a touch. But it's fine. We're still on track. Whether again there's any penalties to be decided for that if he left the track and gained an unfair advantage and everything. Luckily, we don't have to do any of that. That's all left to the professionals afterwards. But yeah, nice close racing. Good to see majority of everybody getting a good clean start. And again, it's getting used to that as we've got. Who was that just going off?
Jacob Lander. He landed in the wrong part of the circuit, unfortunately, and ended up in the Armco as Gabriel Norris is going through Gillian Christian down the start-finish straight to make what is not a standard overtake, not an easily done overtake, shall I say, because Christian was really holding on to the position, but it looks like Gabriel has just about got through there. And yeah, I like the fact that you mentioned Andy Dorman doing good performances in the Super Tourers and everything like that. In every championship, I feel like Andy has that one moment where he shines and gets driver of the round in most championships, but he's very rarely towards right at the sharp end, as we maybe saw him in a couple of years ago. We saw him quite at the sharp end for quite a substantial amount of races, actually. 2 or 3 years ago when I was commentating on VRRC a little bit more regularly, but currently operating in fourth place. Nothing to be ashamed of whatsoever, with Gabriel Norris potentially carving away through him in a couple of laps time, or even a couple of corners time, as the gap that Gabriel Norris seems to have pulled on him already is pretty monumental. Right on his rear diffuser now is Gabriel Norris, and Andy Dorman not really worrying about that one. Becky, probably the right thing to do there. Yeah,
Gabriel's obviously got some pace behind him this evening, so he's wanting to work his way up the field as quickly as he can. Jack's still down in P8 at the moment, so that will probably be his main challenge at the moment. I'm hoping my internet's back. There we go. Not too sure if I went a little bit robotic there. So yeah, he'll be pushing Will Gabe to get up the order. Obviously this was the reverse grid, so it's nice to see actually Jack Dickerson still holding his own up in front after starting on pole position.
No! Massive send. Sorry there,
for
Becky.
2 seconds. No, it's all right. I looked away for 2 seconds, looked back up, and there was cars flying off the track. So you let me know what happened there.
Well, one driver absolutely flew into another driver. It looked like the brake pedal almost broke. It was as if I was watching Forza Horizon 6 gameplay, just absolutely using the other player to just move them out the way and make the corner. That was a bit of a shame. I'm not actually 100% sure who it was in the end, because the timing tower was, again, going all over the place. But I think maybe, given the fact that they've fallen so far down the order, I don't really want to guess, actually, to be honest, because it could have been any number of drivers who were in those sort of area. So if you saw your favourite drivers flying off the circuit in the background, I do apologise if I missed it. One person who I haven't noticed do have a bad race, but equally is having a bad race, is Chris Blakey. No idea how they're so far down the order, but they are in 12th place, which isn't great. I mean, it's so far down the order. It's a relative term, obviously, isn't it? But when you consider that he was pretty much as fast as Gabriel Norse was in the first, Gabriel up into third, Jack Smith up to fifth, and Chris Blakey still down outside the top 10. It does beg the question, I wonder what happened to him. This is Lee Pearcey versus Jack Smith, and I thought Smith was just leaving a little bit too much opportunity there, shall we say, for Lee Pearcey to pass up, but in the end he was just getting that late apex to try and get that run down onto Sam Gumberley, who, again, like you mentioned, Becky, is having a good race. A lot of these drivers who start at the front end of the field on reverse grids, you quite often see causing a little bit too much chaos, maybe a bit of inexperience, maybe a little bit too hot-headed, maybe too desperate to keep their positions, but actually driving very sensibly. Just like there, Jack Dickerson, he gains nothing by trying to fight Gabriel Norse, but he could hold on to a top 5 finish if he plays it smart against the other drivers around him. Look at Lee Pearcey versus Gabriel Norse in just the background. That third place fight, oh, it might have actually been fighting with Sam Gumberley. Not entirely sure, actually, because we can't see from the back of Gabriel Norse, who it obviously means it's not him. I don't know why I said Gabriel Norse and Lee Pearcey before. My apologies. But as Lee Pearcey versus Jack Smith heats up, we can definitely make sure we announce that Gabriel Norse is the now leader of this race, despite what it may say on the left-hand side. So a good carve through the field there. It's easier said than done, isn't it, Becky?
Yeah, especially when there's new drivers, it's again new cars, maybe a track people aren't familiar with as well, so there's a lot to take in, a lot to be aware of. I think the incident we saw where we had 2 cars off might have been the 2 Sams, so Sam Gumley and Sam Walton, because they were both in like P2, P3, and then all of a sudden Gabriel was ahead of them, and he was the car we obviously saw still on track coming through, the 2 that had veered off. One obviously has recovered fairly quickly, which is Sam Gumley. Sam Walton, unfortunately, I think must have been the one further out. So I think I pieced that together, doing my detective work, but yeah, that kind of makes a little bit of sense. But it's
It'll
good to
do
see.
for me.
Yeah, even though again Jack Dickerson has lost, he's dropped behind Jack Smith now. Just keep an eye on those 2 cars, follow them as best as you can. Being mindful though, you are in different cars, so as Jack Smith ran through in our interviews, they do handle differently. As Lee Pearcey looks like he's going up the inside. Nicely done, nice move there. Fairly nice and simple for him. So yeah, that'll be another position gained. He'll be hoping to hang on to the back of Jack Smith, whether he decides to go for a battle against him or if he just wants to sit back and just enjoy the view and watch the 2 ahead battle on. And I am a little bit confused because I'm pretty sure, oh no, we've dropped back, haven't we? That must be
Sam Gumberley in 5th position and Christian Gillian in 7th, with Kieran Haynes in the middle of these 2. Jack Smith just set the purple lap, so the fastest lap of the race. And I think Andy Dorman was one of the people that has fallen victim to an incident earlier on. It may well have been that last corner incident, actually, I think, because he was operating in this sort of area, wasn't he, as well, as Kieran Haynes tries to make that move on whoever he's attacking, which I believe is not Christian Gillian. This is very confusing with the left-hand side of the screen being filled up, and I think it's Lee Pearcey versus Jack Dickerson. Jack Dickerson, I think, was involved with that battle there. So Kieran Haynes, here he is. And I think that is Jack Dickerson. Yeah, I just about called that right. It's the wrong round to have the leaderboard mess up like this, isn't it, Becky? Because every driver is in a new livery and we haven't got used to them yet.
Yeah, I think it is Kieran Haynes, but I believe he is in a similar livery to Gabriel Norse, so that's why I confused me. It dropped back and it was like, well, is Gabe behind Jack Dickerson again? So that's what threw me off as well. But like you say, yeah, it's always, and again, normally a lot of people will take the same sort of colour. So Chris Blakey keeps it nice and simple for us. He always has this very standout black and sort of gold on his car because he races in that in the real world, as well as we've got, I think Kieran Haynes went a bit wide there. I don't know if there was a little bit of a bump here and there, so we're just getting these drivers to sort themselves out. As Ollie's going to go on the inside to hopefully get this move done on Sam Walton with hopefully no contact, as he's again got the inside for this next corner. As it sweeps back round, he just edges Sam Walton just over off the track just a little bit, just closes that door and his path and through. So luckily no major carnage there, with I think there was about 5 cars clumped together then.
Yeah, Sam Gumbley had a little bit of contact, but I don't think it was major, like you mentioned. Chris Blakey lunges up the inside, though, of Sam Walton, trying to follow Oliver Gibson through. Jack Smith says yet another fastest lap, and he's into the 52s. 1 minute 52.86. Is that the fastest lap that we... Well, it is the fastest lap we got out there on the circuit, don't get me wrong, but is it faster than Gabriel Norse on a regular occasion? Just having a look, Gabriel Norse's last lap was a 153.4. His best lap was apparently a 154.8, which doesn't make any sense, but maybe he was off the road for his other best laps. But Jack Smith was perfectly legal, so that is the reason why he is right on the tail end of Gabriel Norse. By the lap times, you would expect Jack to be able to make this happen. We got 19.5 minutes left. Plenty of racing for Gabriel to hold on to this position. Plenty of time left for Jack to make the move. That is going to be the sort of cat and mouse setup that we've got here for the rest of this particular race. Lee Pearcey in third position, doing well. Kieran Haynes in fourth. Jack Dickerson, in fact, that may well be wrong as well, even on my timing screen, because I think Chris Blakey is a little bit higher up than that. I could be wrong, actually. No, I think it is Lee Pearcey, Kieran Haynes, Jack Dickerson, still inside the top 5, with Scott Bugner in 6th, Oliver Gibson in 7th, Sam Walton in 8th, Chris Blakey 9th, and Sam Gumbley, yeah, that does make sense, because I saw him make the attempt on Sam Gumbley in 9th position, and Sam in 10th. So, yeah, we're a little bit confusing, but I think we're just about getting there. This is Jack Dickerson. He is in the top 5. He's got a queue of cars behind him that would like to take that top 5 pedestal off of him, but they're going to have to fight quite hard. Lee Pearcey and Kieran Haynes, though, in a bit of dreamland, Becky, aren't they? Because they've got about 2.5 seconds either side of them to really just keep putting in and concentrating on their own lap times.
Yeah, like we mentioned earlier, with looking in your mirrors and stuff, hopefully you'll see them in the distance, but you can just focus on what you're doing on these laps, which we can't really say for some of the other drivers. So Ollie's obviously got his forward vision is full of cars, so he's thinking, right, how can I pick you off one by one? But he's also looked straight behind him, and Sam Walton is still on his tail after he made that overtake a couple of laps ago. So as Ollie just manages to get past Scott Bugner, gets around that corner nicely, and yeah, Scott Bugner's not been able to retaliate. Scott's again got a new livery, nice and bright, that one. I'm liking that one. So yeah, Ollie will now be focusing to see if he can catch up with Jack and get past Jack Dickerson, not Jack Smith. He's a little bit further up the road, but Gabe was mentioning in the interviews as well, obviously he was mindful of Jack being fast in this race, and Jack did say, he was like, I kind of conserved my tyres at the beginning, so he's definitely probably got a bit more of all out, especially with the reverse grid, thinking, right, I've got to get past people. So he's probably put more into it this time. We'll see if the tyres will hold on for him to the end, with him pushing a lot more this time around. But probably the same goes for Gabe, again having to work his way through that field. They probably pushed a lot more compared to the first race where they qualified, obviously, towards the front end. It just changes the dynamics of the race. So but the good thing will be we'll get this to play out again in the third race, because our results will be based on our grid will be based on the results from race 1 and race 2. We did briefly run through this, but again, this was probably when nobody could hear us. So just a brief mention there of how the races are playing out, and it's a shorter race next race as well. It's only 15 minutes, so moves will have to be made very early on.
Yes, my voice will almost thank it for being 15 minutes. If you're wondering as well, why, because I was just wondering while Becky was talking about that, how on earth these drivers are getting away with basically being off the track 90% of the time, I will explain it in a second, because Jack Smith is going for the race-leading overtake. And I tell you what, Becky, it looked like he had a curve system in his car there, didn't it? Because he flew past on the outside with Gabriel Norse now trying to defend his position, but it's going to be Jack Smith who's going to have the inside line for turn number 2, and it's going to be a race lead swap, and it's Jack Smith in the lead for the first time this evening. He cuts across the curb as Gabriel Norse. I reckon he's going to look at the inside here. He does. Even if it's just a sighter, he goes to have a look. He tries to put Jack Smith off the apex. He manages to make him miss the apex, but he doesn't make him mess up, and that is crucial. Jack Smith is cool as a cucumber, even if his fan and his computer isn't there. It's going to be hard work for the next 15 minutes, I'm sure, to hold off Gabriel, but if anybody can do it, I'm sure Jack Smith will back himself to be that person. What a move. In the end, it looked a little bit easier on the straight, but that's just the power of the drafting system. Both these drivers are in the same car. Wow, what a move there, Becky. We have changed position. It's the first time we see a new leader this evening. It's been Gabriel Norse for the majority of the meaningful bits of this evening, hasn't it? I mean, we have had people leading in the first 5 minutes or so, but in terms of the favourites, Gabriel's had it all his own way. He's now going to have to fight hard to keep it. To keep the 100% streak going, even if it is only one race so far.
Yeah, he'll be eager to get back past him, and as last season showed us, he's not one to give up. This will be a battle in towards to the end of this race, and we might even get another replay of our close finishes that we had, because we had a close finish between Jack and Gabriel Norse, and it was like thousandths of a second. I think it was even less than that. It was that close, and it was just decided on the line, proper photo finish. So he'll be mindful of that, because he just pipped it that time. So he'll think, right, okay, if I can get a good exit, we can make that work again. So it'll be interesting to see again how these two battle throughout not only these races but the ones to come as well, because they do always seem to end up in the same sort of part of the track together, which is great. It's an exciting race. Gabe has backed up just a touch. He's still obviously within touching distance, but he's just maybe just thinking, right, we'll just call off a little bit. There's 14 minutes to go. There is plenty of time to make moves and create those opportunities. And like you say, keep kind of rearing Leauge in the mirror, try to put him off a little bit. Because as mentioned before, as much as everybody's like, oh no, I don't pay attention, you do. Especially when you know it's a race competitor, kind of someone you've battled a whole championship with previous as well. It's going to niggle on the back of your mind just a little bit that they are a threat.
Yes, one thing I would say, if anybody out there being a Gabriel Norse fan though, the scary thing is Jack Smith has just set a purple sector 1. As we see Chris Blakey go round, I didn't see what happened there, Becky. Did you have a glance at that?
I'm not too sure if he might have a bit of an issue with his tyres, as Jack mentioned, with us asking about all the tyres and the cars and how they differ. It's a bit more conservative. Again, I'm quoting word for word here, Jack Smith. Sorry, you can bill me later. But the tyres drop off quite quickly, is what Jack said. So I wonder if that's gone into play, or again he's just gone a bit too quick round a corner. So it might just be a case of letting the tyres cool back down. It was again the left, I'm assuming the front left, that they're saying there's a lot of load going through that tyre. But I think it was more on his own error than anything. There was nobody around him to cause him to go off from what I could see. But wonder if it's more a tyre issue or if it was just too fast into that corner.
So oh my days, Scott Bugner, my mind just went blank. Scott Bugner there fighting with Jacob Lander. Jacob obviously who had been in the wall in the previous race, I believe. Or even at the beginning of this race, actually, it might have been. So good to see them fighting a little bit harder. And Scott Bugner, a driver that I'm quite used to calling the name of, actually. Normally very quick, but seems to be struggling a little bit in these World Endurance League cars. Just having a look as well at the track limits. So I was confused a little earlier, thinking, why on earth are these drivers taking so much liberties with the curbs? I mean, they're literally going all the way over the white line. You've just seen Gilly and Christian do it there, and they're not even worried about it. They continue to do it. Well, the white line is considered the edge of the racetrack. However, the curb, the white and red bit, is considered an extension of the racetrack according to the rules of VRRC. I'm not entirely sure whether COTA is agreeing with that, or whether VRRC are actually programming it in to not punish them if they do that. So as long as all two wheels, that's track limits, for instance, Sam Gumbley just giving me an example, as long as two wheels are touching the curb at any one time, technically that means they are within track limits. But as soon as all four tyres touch the blue curve, only the blue or only the red, the outside of the curve basically, that would trigger a track warning and potentially a penalty if they keep doing it over and over again. So the drivers must keep two wheels inside the white line or the curb at all times. That is your track limit. It's the last I'm going to mention it, Richard John Neal, I imagine, doesn't mention it because we all hate talking about track limits. Everyone in the world hates talking about track limits, but there you go, that's the explanation. If you're wondering on some of the other explanations as well, round 1, we did dictate qualifying. We explained this earlier, but since there's a bit of a lull in the action at the moment, I'll explain it again. Round 1 here at Losail, we had a 15-minute qualifying session to decipher who was going to be starting where in race 1. Then we did race 2, also 30 minutes. We're in the middle of it, if you hadn't been keeping up. That was race 1 results, top 15, reverse. Race 3, a 15-minute race, determined by the combined results of race 1 and 2, with no reverse grid. So, combined results of 1 and 2, Gabriel Norse, if he wins both races, he will start on pole position. If he comes first and second, not sure what will happen because Jack Smith's likely to be second and first. So, they'll be tying. I suppose maybe it goes down to who did it first, which likely means Gabriel Norse. So, those are the sort of rules. It's the averages, basically, for race number 3. Next week, there will be no qualifying session, though. This is where it gets slightly different. Next week, and from then on, through all the way into round 7, there will be no qualifying. Race 1 will be a 30-minute race determined by the championship position with the top 15 reversed. So let's say Gabriel Norse comes out of this weekend, or this evening, winning the championship, let's say. He will start in 15th position on race 1 next week. I hope you understand. I hope that was fairly easy to comprehend. If you're wondering what it is and how it works, drop a comment in the YouTube chat. I'll attempt to explain it again. But if I didn't explain it well enough there, the likelihood is I'm just not very good at explaining it. Not a great trait for a commentator, but I'll give it a go a second time round if you need me to. Christian Gillian running very wide there as he tries to fend off the likes of Andy Dorman and chase up to Sam Gumbley, who again been very impressed with so far in this second race, and also Jack Dickerson actually. Both have shown good pace to keep in the positions that they are, but very well done to the likes of Andy Dorman, who is chased back from a previously very difficult position, as Gillian Christian, sorry, I get those two names mixed up, is now fighting Gumbley into the first corner, and I don't know whether there's space for an outside move there as well, but I believe Andy Dorman may well have just decided, you know what, that's not worth it, and through goes Gillian.
Yeah, just managed to... Oh no, is he? I think he's still behind. I think obviously Christian's got ahead, but Andy Dorman is still sat behind Sam Gumbley, sorry, so he'll be lining up to maybe make a move, but it looked like he was going to go for a lunge. Sam's unfortunately lost it round that corner, so he's gone out wide, so that's opened the door nicely for Andy Dorman there, and he's got Chris Blakey tucked in behind him as well, so they're kind of a pack. Well, kind of a duo, not even really a pack, but the two Astons chasing down this McLaren to see as Andy Dorman's managed to just tuck it in the inside there and thought he would have had that move on, but again we've got a kind of a little not really a chicane, it's not that tight, but a little bit of a kind of a left and a right, and so it kind of went back into Christian's favour there, so, and Andy's now dropped back into Chris Blakey's hands, so he'll be mindful of him now on the outside of this corner, so he'll probably feel quite confident he can get round this corner, no worries. But Chris seems to have quite a lot of pace going through there, and definitely seems to have more grip than he did earlier, but then that was a definite track limits violation there, and just another one just to make sure as well. So please, you summed up the track limits there, just so we're definitely sure on what's what there. But it's always sometimes riding the curb, it's that extra sort of like how far do you want to take it, how much more track can you open up to open up the corner. It's more in kind of real world racing where then you've got to be mindful of the curbs do get very slippy, and then some of the tracks we'll go to, they'll have sausage curbs, so it's like thinking, well, yeah, normally I'd ride this curb quite high or quite wide out, but you can't always do that, so it's again adjusting to each track, each corner, and yeah, your car situation, as we've had a tangle there with Andy Dorman and Chris Blakey. Andy's just kind of kept his foot in and just decided, I'm just going to keep up the road. Any penalties that will come, that's fine. And I don't know who that, I think that might have been Jacob Lander again, just losing it as he was coming into a corner, and just to add to Chris Blakey's woes, just tapped him as well. So does seem to be maybe the tyres are squealing a little bit at the moment, and yeah, probably wanted a bit of a breather, but no such luck. We've got just over 5 minutes to go.
Yeah, tyres are definitely struggling for a lot of these cars, isn't it now? And we've seen a lot of loose ends. We've seen a lot of people maybe braking a little bit too late, maybe where they were braking earlier in the race, and now it's potentially a little bit too late, and they're just not really taking it into account as much as they should do, which is a bit of a struggle. But Kieran Haynes versus Lee Pearcey. Very entertained by Lee Pearcey today. It's been great to watch them. Whether or not it's always been clean, sometimes it's been contact, but I just like seeing drivers really get stuck in. We've seen a lot of Lee Pearcey getting stuck in. I can't remember in the first race, I think he got a little bit too stuck in, actually, Becky. If you remember, did he fly into someone and maybe miss a braking zone? I can't quite remember if he was on the receiving end of that or whether he was the initiator. But either way, Kieran Haynes is going to try and go around the outside. There's a very, very defensive inside line by Lee Pearcey as Kieran's trying to attempt it, and he's got good pace and good momentum. He's getting a little bit of bumping and barging off Lee, as Kieran, I think, is going to have that successfully in the bag. And yes, good move that, Becky. Very difficult to do, but we've seen a couple of drivers figure that turn one out, haven't we?
Yeah, Lee will be probably a little bit gutted about that. He's done well, held that position for so long, and goes wide there as well, but seems to have picked up the pace and might have managed to regain that position. Whether again there was track limits, as he's cut across quite close there to kind of drop Kieran Haynes' momentum there, kind of put a stop in his tracks, which again is, I suppose you could say, it's defensive driving. But yeah, it's always good when Lee gets into it, and good to see him getting some good performances out of this car, because he definitely openly said he was not a fan of the last race series. So he's probably pleased to be in a different car, getting some different results, some better results, hopefully. So hopefully he will have a good championship this time round.
Yeah, it's an expensive way to drive, shall we say, what he was attempting there in fighting back in certain parts of the circuit. But of course, that is one of the good things about sim racing. You don't have to pay for any of it, so it doesn't really matter, does it? It does matter to the drivers around you, though. Obviously, everybody's trying to practice to do the best that they can. So Lee Pearcey versus Kieran Haynes will reignite, I'm sure, potentially, with the added introduction of Oliver Gibson to the roster, because he is just sat there in 5th position. A driver and a drive that we haven't actually spoken that much about for Oliver Gibson, because he wasn't rapid in the first race, was he? He made a couple of mistakes. He wasn't slow by any means, but he wasn't exactly blistering. He made a couple of mistakes. He dropped back in the field, but then he never actually let up. He was in 4th place. He was never really had any fear that he was going to drop to 5th. And he seems to have made his way up into that sort of similar position here, Becky. And if he can keep doing this all the way through the championship, it puts you in good stead against some drivers that maybe end up falling into each other a little bit more.
Yeah, I'm going to be boring. I'm going to go back to tyre talk. Sorry, everyone. I pre-warned you. I wonder again, like we say, it's learning these cars, it's learning how the tyres handle. Again, they would have done practice laps, and there would have been other people on the server when they've been practicing, and maybe again with him and his brother, they might have done some sort of like race scenarios. I don't think they generally do. As you've mentioned before, Jack, they're very vibesy, so it's all we just go with the flow. It's just whatever the vibe feels like, that's what we do. So there's no actual kind of like major simulations of being like, right, if I'm on this corner and this is happening and there's somebody ahead of us. So it just depends what practice they've put in. So, and then to go into actual full-on racing against other cars, having to again position your cars not on the kind of race line, going the longer way round people and other cars and stuff. It's all going to wear your tyres differently to what you've probably been used to just doing hot laps. So it's interesting to see how they're learning. So maybe it was a case of the first race, yeah, it went maybe a bit too soon, too hard on those tyres. So as kind of, yeah, been a bit more gentle this race, but has made progress up the field, and is obviously now in P4. So that's holding well for him at the moment. So it's like, right, I've still got a bit more maybe tyre wear up compared to these two that have been battling a bit more with each other, because I've been a bit by myself, a bit quiet. So he'll be, again, maybe hoping to pick off the both of them and gain 2 positions in the one move with hopefully some better tyres.
You'd hope so, wouldn't you? You know what? Just before we get into the end of this race, because Gabriel Norse, we have to give them credit again. I have to say, one thing I love about motorsport is when people just embrace the vibes. It's very intense motorsport, but I always feared commentating on endurance championships because I thought, well, how am I going to fill 4 hours in a stint? And then all of a sudden I started doing it, and I realised that it's basically hosting a podcast after the first hour or two, where you just end up chatting and just sort of experiencing a great race, and you end up just chatting about pretty much anything. It could be tyres, or it could be anything else. I was part of a 24-hour broadcast once, and you do just end up chatting about anything when it's 3 in the morning, and it is really very vibey, shall we say. And I love the fact that Jack Smith and Oliver Gibson, they set the car up and they're like, right, let's just see what happens. Let's go. We're quick enough to do well, and do well they always do. Speaking of, Jack Smith is doing extremely well. He's coming up to the final couple of corners. He's got a massive margin to Gabriel Norse, hasn't he? Becky, he's got a 5.5 second gap between himself and the race 1 winner. Jack Smith is going to put himself firmly back into the top step on the podium. No question about it. In this second race, he's been absolutely dominant. He didn't get to the front the quickest after that top 15 reverse grid. But I tell you what, once he got there was never a question. Jack Smith takes the victory here at Losail. Gabriel Norse comes across in second place to keep that 100% record of on the podium going. We'll see if they can continue that into race number 3, with Oliver Gibson having gotten past not only Lee Pearcey, but Kieran Haynes as well, to make it a brotherly connection on that podium. He comes home in 3rd place, and I know there'll be a very happy couple of people in the YouTube chat, and maybe, just maybe, a couple of toasts raised at the hop cabin as well. 4th place, Kieran Haynes. 5th place, Lee Pearcey. 6th, Sam Bolton. 7th, Gillian Christian. 8th, Jack Dickerson. 9th, Sam Gumbley. And the top 10 will be rounded out by a driver who I haven't mentioned anywhere near enough so far tonight, but it is Scott Bugner. Maybe it is. I don't know. He's going in the pit lane. I don't know whether that means he finishes or whether he's got a drive-through penalty or something. But just... I've no idea what happened to Scott Bugner there, I'll be honest. I have no idea what that means for him. We'll find out after this quick break when we chat to a couple of our podium sitters. Really quick advert. Well, if that is not the shortest advert you're likely to see on any kind of broadcast, we are back pretty much instantly and ready to chat to a couple of drivers. In fact, more than a couple, actually 3 drivers, shall we say, a grouping. Anyway, we're going to chat to them individually. So, in 3rd place, it's Oliver Gibson. Oliver, a cracking end to that race, and I have to say, from our perspective, a little under the radar. You caught our attention in the last 2 or 3 minutes, but even up to that point I was thinking he's just been consistent. Even if he finishes in the top 5 anywhere, he'd be happy. Then all of a sudden, pop, you come across the line in 3rd place. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have a great lap one. I think it was a bit of a clumsy move. I don't know who, but it just looked like a bit of a mess in I don't know, maybe turn 3 or 4, can't remember. But yeah, no, the consistency was there, just the pace isn't amazing. But I was lucky that they started battling, Lee and Kieran in front, and then obviously extremely lucky that they had their little incident and I managed to just nip through. But yeah, I mean, I didn't even expect to finish top 5 tonight, so that's 2 top 5s and one of them's a podium, so it's going much better than I thought. But yeah, it's I'm a huge fan of this track, I'm going to be honest. It's pretty rubbish, if I'm completely honest, but yeah, Jack will know. Jack will tell you all about it.
Well, I'm glad to know that you're not worried about the FIA fining you or anything like that in regards to slating the track. But you said about the incident between Lee and Kieran. We didn't see it. I don't think we were waxing lyrical about the top 2, and all of a sudden we look back and you've gotten into the lead. What happened there?
Well, I mean, to be honest, I was just so focused on trying to catch him. I didn't really see much, but it was I I need to get a track map up because I don't know what corner it was. It was towards the last sort of sector, and then just I moved down the inside. It might have been a bit too late, I think, and then just obviously late in the race, you got tyres worn and the car's not going to stop as well. It was turn 10, so I mean, I've had issues stopping there a lot. So it was just, it's one of those where it's unfortunate, but not unfortunate for me. I was quite happy to see it, to be honest. So.
Yeah, I was going to say, you must have been quite pleased. Big smile on your face. A little like probably what you were looking like on the front of your car, actually ready to pounce on their prey. We're going to have to let you go because we've only got 8 minutes to interview all three of you. Is there anybody you'd like to give a shout out to, Oliver, before we do?
Yeah, it's everyone at the Hop Cavern. Obviously, we're running the Hopposaurus car this series. It's got a few chipped teeth after that race, but she's still smiling. So, and obviously, my parents are watching, and my girlfriend will be watching. I don't think she's watching live, but she'll watch it back. So, yeah, shout out to everyone watching and all the sponsors and everyone else who I forgot.
Fantastic stuff. Leah's promised a pint and a Coke as well as a consequence of you guys doing well. So, well done, Oliver. We'll let you go.
Cheers, thank you.
Second place time, and it's a driver I didn't get to chat to actually after the first race. From the top step to the second place, but I'm sure points equal championships will be well on his mind. Gabriel Noors, well done on the second place. How was that one for you?
It was a decent race. I mean, I managed to make my way through the field quite quickly at the start, and then yeah, I was into the lead, but Jack's just mega quick at the moment, so he went past me, and then I kept on getting off track. So if you saw me slowing down by around 2 seconds a lap, that's because I was trying to make sure I didn't get any penalties for going off the track. But yeah, it was a pretty decent race.
How many warnings do you get for the off tracks? Because I was explaining what the track limits are to everybody, but how many warnings do you get before you get punished?
So you get 3 warnings, and then on your 4th go you get a drive-through penalty. And so I was on 3 warnings for I think the last 20 minutes, which wasn't great.
Oh dear. Well, I was going to say that might be why we saw Scott Bugner coming into the pits, actually, on that final lap and finishing in the pits as well. So in that case, then, do you feel like maybe you didn't show the true pace that you had on the sort of latter stages of that race?
I mean, I was trying my hardest, but I think continually going off the track didn't really help my case in that one. So I think if I'd have not gone off the track, I maybe would have kept up with Jack, but it's hard to tell because he is just so rapid.
Well, you've got 15 minutes to push next time. No worries about tyres dropping off and potentially no worries about off track. So you reckon you got the out-and-out pace very quickly?
I think I can try and fight him, but we'll have to see how it goes.
I love it. Good intentions. Gabriel, is there anybody you'd like to shout out before we let you go?
Just again, anyone who's watching this because of me, it means a lot.
Also, before we do let you go, I could have been mispronouncing your name this entire time. Is it Gabriel or Gabriel?
Gabriel.
Damn it. Oh, I'm sorry, Gabriel. I'll try and get out of the habit of saying Gabriel. I thought you were Portuguese or something. I don't know. Thanks very much for coming in and having a chat to us.
Yeah, thank you.
Right, I may well just keep calling him Gabriel just to annoy him, to be honest. But Gabriel Noors there in second place. Jack Smith, though, on the top step of the podium. Jack, you really showed some pace there, didn't you? Have you finally got used to it this evening, or have you finally got a fan or something?
No, I still didn't really have time to plug the fan in, so yeah, we were just absolutely sweating that one. That was brutal, but it was fast nonetheless. We like halfway through, I had a really when you get cold sweats. I had one of them. I was like, oh no, this is not good. I'm gonna lose some pace here, but I got through that, and then yeah. If anyone says sim race is not physical, it definitely is. So when it's warm, it gets ridiculous. But yeah, no, we had mega pace that race. Yeah, in the 52s on race fuel is ridiculous. I'm not really sure I did that myself, to be honest. And then we kept it up throughout the whole race. Got up to Gabe, got a massive exit out of the final corner. Overtook into T1, and yeah, just tried to pull a gap from there. And yeah, the dirt is crazy as well. It's so washy when you get behind someone. I'd sort of work around that, and I think Gabe experienced it when he got behind me as well. It's just brutal when it first kicks in. It's just crazy. But yeah, super happy, super happy.
I was going to mention actually that 52 because nobody else managed to get a 52 from what I could tell. I didn't look quite as closely on that final lap, but I doubt anybody would have been with the tyre degradation. You did it legally as well. I mean, we just heard Gabriel talking about the track limits and everything like that. You set a very fast lap at the end of race 1, but it had track limits involved, so it didn't count. Did you find that actually it is quicker to stay within the track limits?
Yeah, if you just manage. I found that I would imagine Gabe's probably got his track limits in that final sector where it's so fast that you got to be on the limit. I just found that if you just balance the throttle just right, you can manage the track limits and still be quick. So yeah, I was doing that the whole race. I didn't get a single on that one. So yeah, I was super happy with that. And yeah, better than race 1 where I got like 3 as well. And I was like, not the best of spirits going through those last few laps, trying to avoid a drive-through in the final stages of a race. But yeah, no. You can definitely be quick, just staying within. You just got to manage it really. That's all there is to it really.
Setting a 52 and not getting a single track limit. You sound like one of those students in science who gets who's annoyed because they get an A instead of an A star. I'll be honest, just such an annoying high achiever, Jack. But it is really a sort of testament to how consistent you are that you managed to pull a 5.5 second gap. That's over a long race though. What about a 15-minute race? Because it's completely different, isn't it?
Yeah, it's gonna be a different ball game altogether. I think it's obviously half the fuel now. Cars are going to be lighter. Tires won't go off as fast. Yeah, we'll have to see what happens. I don't even know where I start this. I think, do I start near the front?
You will, yeah. I think it's race 1 and 2 combined will dictate. So you'll be on the front row. I don't know whether you'll be first or second because obviously Gabriel was the first or second as well. So I'm not entirely sure where you'll end up, but you'll be on the front row, I imagine.
Yeah, I think Gabe's definitely faster off the start. I don't really know how he's doing them starts. That's crazy, but I need to figure that out. It's fairly sharpish. Otherwise, I'm going to lose the lead off the start. I think so. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what we can do. Try to work on my starts a bit. Hope for the best, really. Fingers crossed. See what happens. Hopefully, Ollie can follow me through. We can have a little DK Power 1-2 again. That would be lovely, and I'm sure Lee at Hobgoblin will love that.
Yeah, I'm sure he will. Yeah, he's actually given a pint and a Coke. Who's getting the pint and who's getting the Coke between you?
Definitely me having the pint, I think.
well done. Right, you've got to jump away because you've got another race to going. Jack Smith, thank you very much and congratulations.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Right, I mean, don't get me wrong, we have 2 minutes until we get actually into the race, but obviously he might need the toilet or something like that. So we let Jack Smith go, we put him back into the correct Discord server, and we get ready to go racing for the final time here this evening. Becky, I have to say, I'm a fan of 2 longer races and a shorter one. I much prefer that than we broadcast a 15-minute qualifying session. I don't know about you, but now we're at the end of the evening. We have a 15-minute sprint. Jack Smith just said it's physical, he's sweating, he's tired. People can get a little bit boisterous, I imagine, in this last 15-minute race.
Yeah, the 30-minute races have been great because even within like the first 10 minutes, we've had basically like a full race worth of like action going on. And now we've got 15-minute race. And especially with Jack and Gabe on the front row. And Jack looks to be ahead at the moment, so it would be interesting to work out how that's been decided. But nonetheless,
fastest lap,
Jack
maybe?
and Gabe, maybe. But Gabe's got some lightning quick starts, as Jack's already alluded to. So this could be interesting. It's basically one apiece for both of them this evening. So this is kind of like the final battle, I'm going to call it, for this evening's racing. See who ends up on top. Obviously, Jack has got hopefully the help of Ollie behind as well to kind of lend some assistance. So we'll see what the DK Power Boys can do in the Hopposaurus. I'm loving that. But Gabe's, like I say, lightning quick on these starts. So this could be very, very interesting, very spicy. 15 minutes, all go.
I love it when it's spicy. I love a VRRC spicy race. I'm very excited for it. Right. We've hyped it up. We've had a brilliant first 2 races, but this is it for all the marbles now. The lights are on, the engine notes rise, and we are racing here at Losail for the final time here at VRRC World Endurance League, and Mason Turner gets off to a horror start. drops like a stone, well to the back of the mid-pack. It is Gabriel Norse, Oliver Gibson and Jack Smith, and Gabriel Norse does lead away just like Jack Smith was probably thinking he was going to be. I thought maybe he was trying to be a bit humble in that interview, but he's bang on the money. Gabriel Norse is leading us to this one. It's going to be a lot to get over that, Becky. I don't think I'm going to get out of the habit of that one, as Oliver Gibson has a little glance up the inside of his brother Jack Smith, but it was nothing to be so far. Sam Gumbley, who in my opinion is up there for potential driver of the round, and Jack Dickerson, who is Scott Bugner's driver of the round, actually, by the YouTube chat, by the way. So maybe we should be keeping an eye a little bit closer on Jack Dickerson, who's in 9th place and trying to hunt down Ollie Atkins. And I like the fact, I don't want to speak too soon, Becky, but I like the fact from what we've seen around turn 1, people have learned that the rear tyres are a little bit cold and maybe need a little bit more warming up before they put their foot down halfway through a corner.
Yeah, just ease into it. Don't go too bad into first corners or even like the first lap. Just, yeah, get everything up to temperature and then we can start making some moves, and then it tends to go a little bit more smoothly for everybody involved. But yeah, it's good to see. Yeah, that actually was quite a very clean start for everybody. There didn't seem to be major offs or anything that I could see. So everybody getting away nicely on this race. This race is always nice because it is kind of like you're with your similar performing people on this evening of racing. So it's not like all of a sudden you're thrown in the deep end or you've got to get past kind of other cars. You're battling people that you've probably actually already been battling throughout the evening, which is good because there might be some revenge to get or some payback, not in the bad way, and don't take each other out, but just thinking, right, okay, I didn't do that quite right against this person last time, so I'm gonna change tactics. As it actually looks like Chris Blakey's coming out of the pits. So again, it looked like he might have stopped, and I don't know if that was somebody going off there. I just saw like a puff of tyre smoke.
I think what happened there is Chris Blakey got a jump start, came into the pits maybe, and then, or maybe he started from the pits and disconnected, but then he went straight into a 3-wide battle, and just missed his braking zone. He should have just let those 3 go, I have to say. I mean, I know, again, stewards will dictate what actually happens, but it did just look like Chris Blakey maybe should have just hit the brakes a little bit earlier there and just let the 3 drivers go with his cold tyres, and I think ended up taking at least one of them out, which is a bit of a shame. We do have a couple of drivers towards the rear end of the field. Jacob Lander has had a clearly pretty poor start. John Jones and Jack Angel as well, which, to be fair, driving with a broken collarbone, I will let him off. The only issue, I'll be honest, Becky, I'm slightly worried about Jack Angel, because if he has been involved in an incident, force feedback steering wheels can be pretty powerful. If it's jerked, I imagine that can hurt quite a lot on a broken collarbone.
Oh yeah, I've had it before where again, because I'm a great driver really, I've ended up in a barrier quite full pace, head on. And stupidly again, you're always told, let go of the wheel. Yeah, even do that on the sim, because like you said, yeah, the force feedback can be quite brutal. And then to add an injury to it as well. So hopefully, yeah, he's not in too much pain after this evening's racing, and could obviously see the championship out. Or just turn down the feedback a little bit. But then sometimes it just doesn't feel quite as nice, does it? It's not as realistic. So it's what all the settings are there to tweak, though. Again, I won't go into it too much because I don't know a lot about it. I'll just twiddle a few things here and there. As Mason Turner looks like he's going to go up the inside of Sam Gumley. Yeah, nicely ahead of him, so hopefully, yeah, gets around this corner nicely. Again, so I don't know if most of the times when Sam goes around that corner, he does seem to prefer a kind of wider line through it. I don't know if that's necessarily working, or if again he feels he gets more momentum coming out of it. But it does mean he's quite vulnerable then on the inside for obviously someone diving up the inside or managing to get ahead before that corner, and especially if you've managed to be behind them for a couple of laps, you'll soon pick those points up and be like, right, okay, there's an opening there. They've done it each time I've been behind them for the past couple of laps. Right, that's my opening. I'm going for it. As we just jump a little bit forward to Kieran Haynes, who's trying to chase down Ollie Gibson, but we've got this pack of 4s very tight together, and we've got a Lee Piercy lurking in the background as well.
a lurking Lee Piercy. That's the threat destined for these 4 drivers if they start falling over each other and getting into the grasps, into the grasps, I should say, of Lee Piercy a little later on in this race. Of course, there's only 9 minutes left. It makes it feel like it's really wow, we're really already towards the end, but given the fact that it's a shorter race, it really does sneak up on you, the latter stages here. But all the drivers having to go full sprint in these cars is something to behold, and I think Gabriel North will be fairly happy, because I think the biggest advantage that Jack Smith has over Gabriel North maybe is that tyre management that we were talking about earlier, and maybe that's why the later stages, the last 5 or 10 minutes of that second race, is where Jack really did gain all that time and made it look like it was a much more convincing race than it was maybe in the first 20 minutes. So, yeah, I'm excited to see how it all pans out, but it's actually a lot cleaner than I was expecting, Becky. Again, I sort of thought maybe a 15-minute race, people wouldn't have their endurance head on, if that makes sense, because you do have to really change your opinion, change your mindset when you're racing sprint to racing endurance. Chris Blakey, after that incident earlier on, goes to the inside of Robert Shepherd. Both slide, but Robert Shepherd slides a hell of a lot more than Chris Blakey, who's finally seems to be getting back underway a little bit more consistently after a poor race 2 and a race 1 to remember, but a poor race 2 and maybe a race 3 here that he has to rescue some points on if he's going to be at the sharp end of the championship come the end of the series. But like I was saying, Becky, there is a massive shift in mindset, isn't there, between endurance racing and sprint racing. It's hard to flick that switch.
Yeah, it is, and it's also being mindful of, like we've been saying in the earlier races, being 30 minutes long. Yeah, we've seen some tyres dropping off. So as much as Jack's probably thinking, oh yeah, well Gabe might lose his tyres eventually, will he in the only 15 minutes of running that we've got for this last race, will he manage to eke it out that long? I'm not too sure. I think he said in the interviews last race, it was, yeah, I think he said the last 20 minutes was like that's the majority of the race, and that he was struggling a bit with those tyres. So it's like, well, that's a full chunk of time. So hopefully in his mind that will be like, great, I can, as long as I've got those 10 minutes, it's only 5 minutes I've really got to defend. But Jack has not lost touch of him. He's still there, and I think he knows in his mind I've performed well in the later stages of the race. So we're just going to condense the kind of previous races down. Yeah, it was 30 minutes before. We're half in it. So yeah, kind of 7 odd minutes of just relaxing, and maybe now in these 7 minutes that we've got left, he'll be pushing as we see him go on the inside now, just ahead. So obviously we're on board with Kieran Haynes at the moment, who's actually in P4. Again, ignore our timing screen. But you can see they're literally side by side this whole sort of time. I can't actually work. I think Jack's still behind him at the moment. But yeah, that battle is still ongoing.
It's interesting to know and to see. Sorry, I should mention. We heard one of the drivers say in the interviews, I can't remember if it was Gabriel or whether it was Jack, about the fact that there'll be a lot less weight on board, given that there's a lot less fuel, half race fuel, compared to the 30 minutes. And that means that the lap time should come down significantly. It means the tyres should last longer and all that sort of stuff. And we're seeing the evidence on the lap times, because Jack Smith has once again got into the 52s. He's done a 1 minute 52.859. However, Gabriel North was a 1 minute 52.833. So he's 0.02 of a second quicker than Jack Smith. Oliver Gibson also in the 152s, and he himself even said that he just doesn't have the pace here this evening. He doesn't like the track, he doesn't have the pace, but he is also in the 152.995. He's only just, but he is there. Kieran Haynes and Lee Piercy, the 1 minute 53s, but Mason Turner, a 1 minute 53.026. Very, very much on the clutches of those 52s. As we go further into the session, we will see more 53s coming out and about, but Gabriel North and Jack Smith still in that time zone, still in the 152s. So they've been in it for about 10 minutes now. Just goes to show what the difference is with those lighter fuel loads on board. And maybe, as we mentioned, Jack's advantage is not quite there as much in this particular race, but he is still putting the pressure on. So now it's about out-and-out racecraft between him and the likes of a touring car champion, Becky. That is worth noting, isn't it? A touring car champion. Touring cars are sprint racing machines. Maybe that's where Gabriel really cuts his teeth.
And he also, I believe he won the Formula Fords as well. So
of
one
course.
of the race series just before that as well, because that was his kind of maiden series with VRRC. So he's not one to mess with. He's definitely got the pace, got the handling of the car, and he seems to adapt very quickly to the cars whenever we're changing. And so he's a formidable racer to be up against. So, and I know Jack's been really enjoying the kind of the battles they've been having. I do love when people come on and they're like, oh yeah, I don't really like this track, but still put in like top 3 performances, top 5 or decent performances, and it's like, you don't even like the track. Imagine if you actually enjoyed it. So yeah, I always find it funny when they're like, no, I don't like this track. I know, again, a few of them have said it before, but it's all about just getting the most out of your car and your skills as a driver. Round maybe a track you might find a lot of the times it tends to be the flow drivers don't like the feel of, and they're a bit like, oh yeah, it just doesn't flow that well. This is very sort of, as you can see from the camera angles that we keep swapping to, it's very back and forth. It's very sort of left and right. I know they're saying it's majority of your right hand turns, but it does seem again you're just going from one side of the track to the other side of the track and then you're back again. So it is very sort of, it could almost be a little bit disorientating. It sometimes is for me when I'm looking up. I'm like, literally, we're going from side to side here. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how Ollie fares in a track that again he'll enjoy, and then see what performances he puts in there as well. So that's really exciting to look forward to as Jack's pumping at the bit now with his lovely Hopposaurus teeth there, thinking, right, I need to get past it. I've only got like 3 minutes left, so it's probably now's the time to make that move and get past him. Otherwise, it's going to be very challenging to do it as he's going to the outside. Does he have enough pace to get round? No, Gabe is still hanging on for dear life on this lead, and I know they'll be absolutely loving every second of this battle for this last race.
Yeah, he wants a second pint, doesn't he? That's what Jack wants, and Oliver wants that second Coke, although he may be battling for the pint at this point. I don't actually know how old Oliver Gibson is. He might not be old enough to drink. That might be why it's a Coke. I just thought it was a Coke because he came third and not first, but maybe it's an age thing and Lee's not just being harsh. We'll have to find that out, because I've been commentating on these two for a number of years now, and I'm pretty sure Oliver's over the age of 18. Anyway, I'll find that out later. Jack Smith has been crawling all over the back of Gabriel, but crucially, Becky, if you try and make moves, if you shoot for the king, you've got to kill him, because if he doesn't, he ends up at the back of the clutches of 3rd and 4th place. And although Oliver may not be the most aggressive in terms of going for that overtake, I tell you what, Kieran Haynes doesn't care. Why wouldn't he want to try and make up to that podium position? So the more Jack Smith backs into Oliver Gibson, the lack of move from Oliver Gibson could mean that they back into Kieran Haynes, and all of a sudden Kieran, in the last lap, he could see himself potentially getting on the podium. We have only got about a minute left to go. Sorry, one more lap. I imagine this is going to go just down into the last lap with 1 minute and 42 seconds left to go. We'll be finishing the timer with about 10 seconds left on this particular lap. So this is it. Everything or nothing for Jack Smith in terms of podium glory. 2 wins are on the card for both of these drivers here this evening, and leaving with a championship lead. That's what they've got to consider as they're going through the final couple of corners. Don't get me wrong, it's a long way to go in this championship. This is only the first round, but you still want to have the impetus going into the second. The consolation prize is 9 kilograms instead of 10 kilos on your car going into round 2. I very much doubt either of these drivers will care a bit about that weight adjustment going into round 2. Jack Smith lunges. I thought there was going to be more contact. He lets through Gabriel Norse, and I think he just about holds off the fact that Oliver Gibson was sniffing around there to try and make himself a bit of a hero and going into second place. But looking backwards, Gabriel Norse, this is one of the opportunities that Jack Smith had sniffed out. He lined that one up and he just absolutely sent it. And look at the brake, the manner of that BMW chomping at the bit to try and get that lunge up the inside, trying to, all his might to crowbar a move out of Gabriel Norse. This is absolutely thrilling, Becky, but it's got to come to a close at some point. They've got about 3 corners left, and Jack Smith has dropped just far enough off the back of Gabriel Norse for Gabriel to consider he only has to hit 2 more apexes, and then the job is a good one. He will have a double victory and a second place to his name as they leave Losail in the VRRC World Endurance League. 1 more apex, and it's Gabriel Norse's. Here he comes across the line. Jack Smith gave it everything, but he's going to have to settle for second place as Oliver Gibson comes home in third. Yet again, a great improvement in terms of speed for Oliver Gibson. Jack Smith will have to settle for second, something he definitely isn't used to. But your touring car champion carries on into the World Endurance League with yet another victory to his name. 2 for him on the night and a second place. What a race between the top 3. And Kieran Haynes doing his best as well as Chris Blakey goes wide again and drops outside the top 10. Wow, we had to breathe. We had to decide who our driver of the round is. That's something we haven't mentioned even once on the chat, Becky. But we're going to do that as we go to the advert break, and we'll be back with some podium sitters in a couple of minutes' time. Sorry, Becky.
No, don't worry. You go with it. Kieran Haynes.
I've had a lot of challenges in my life, and Helen was always there, supporting me through everything. Today, we're facing a new challenge. Helen has been diagnosed with a terrible disease. Dementia is nothing less than a worldwide epidemic. Formula One moves fast. By contrast, medical research can be painfully slow. We want to bring some of our Formula One technology into the laboratories. Our charity, Race Against Dementia, will help to accelerate the pace of dementia research. Let's beat dementia together.
Whew, I tell you what, my voice needs a break, but we don't get one because we have got a number of drivers to interview, and we're going to go straight to that third place. A driver who didn't expect to be in the top 5 really that much by his own admission going into this evening. Finds himself with a double podium though. Third place, Oliver Gibson. Oliver, I don't know what you were talking about earlier in terms of you don't have the pace. You had a massive amount of pace there, right with them in the end, and into the 52s consistently. You must be impressed with the improvement.
Yeah, I'm pleasantly surprised with that, actually. I was giving the track a bit of stick in the last interview, but credit where credit's due. The racing's actually not that bad around here, so... but no, I still don't enjoy it. But no, I mean, the car's great. They look great, they sound great, they drive great. So I'm just very excited for the next few... Obviously, the 7 other rounds. So, but yeah, no, I'm very happy to get double podium, and I think it was a 4th in the first race. So yeah, I mean, much better than I thought I was going to do, and yeah, I'm just glad it's. I see the back of this track now. But yeah, no, I'm looking forward to the next one as well. So, Imola, it's a good track. So we'll see.
I was Becky actually referenced the fact that you said you didn't like the track, and I was sort of jokingly going to say, oh well, you know, you only don't like a track until you do well at it, and then all of a sudden it's one of your favourites. And I had to say, I know you didn't say you still said you're glad to see the back of it, but you were very close there to giving it some credit almost. And coming out of this evening, has your opinion changed in Losail?
I mean, honestly, the racing was actually pretty good. I mean, I was surprised by that. I thought in practice, otherwise, no racing is going to happen tonight, but it was really good, the racing. So I think that's a credit to the drivers as well, not only just the cars, and the track. But yeah, I mean, I just don't. It's just not a track for me, to be honest. I like a bit of elevation, and it's just a bit flat. So
can't argue with it.
Yeah, I mean, people like it, but yeah, it's just not for me. So.
Can't argue with it. Oliver, and the last thing before we let you go as well, one thing I've never asked, are you, Lee said a pint and a Coke for you two. Are you over the age of 18?
I'm 19 now, so...
Yeah, I thought so, yeah.
I still
don't drink. Fair enough, right, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's like the taste. So
I can't argue with you there. I'm not a fan of beer either, to be honest. But
there you go.
yeah, that'll explain it. I was thinking when he said a beer and a pint and a Coke, I was thinking he's not still 17. He might have been when I started commentating, but that was a while ago. Right, brilliant. Thank you very much, Oliver. Is there anybody else you would like to give a shout out to before we let you go? I know you've already done the rounds, but you know how this script goes by now.
Yeah, just shout out to we lost Kyle Busch the other week, so I'm just I'm a big NASCAR fan, so obviously, yeah, it's a shame that we lost him. So yeah, I'm racing for him. I think we all are tonight. So, and for the rest of the series, and probably for the rest of the year, because he's such a legend of the sport. So, yeah, racing for Kyle Busch tonight.
Absolutely, yeah. Well said, Oliver. Congratulations on the 2 third places and a 4th, I have to say. It's not to be shaken at either. So we'll speak to you soon, I'm sure.
Cheers, thank you.
On to 2nd place. It is, of course, Jack Smith, the brother. Now, 2 second place and a 1st. No one can be disappointed with that, Jack. But you really did give it everything to try and get that double top step, didn't you?
Yeah, I know people say you can't win the race at T1, but I genuinely think Gabe won that one at T1. Just the start he had is just crazy. I just couldn't. I tried my best to get near it, but yeah, I couldn't match it. And yeah, from there on, I was just, you know, in that window where you lose a downforce but you gain the speed, and yeah, just at the end of the race, my fronts had lower grip than my rears, and it was so bad. I was just coming out the final corner thinking I just need a little bit more front. I can maybe get an exit on him, but I just couldn't. It was always 4/10. There wasn't enough of an overlap to get in front of him on down the straight. So, yeah, fair play. He defended really well. You know, I was going to try and sell him a dummy, but I don't think he would have fallen for it. I sort of had that feeling. I was like, I don't think he's going to fall for this. So, yeah, maybe he would have. I don't know. But, yeah, the way he was driving, I could sort of tell he was driving really defensive. So, yeah, I think he would have had that in the bag, really. Just white line it. I think it was the pace between us was so similar that I think if he did just white line it the entire race, he would have won it anyway. So, yeah, no, fair play to Gabe. That was some mega driving, and yeah, nothing I can really do about that, really.
You did give it a nibble on that last lap, though, didn't you? I mean, we were on board with Gabriel, and all of a sudden there was a little bit of a here we go, and I thought Oliver was actually going to nab both of you, but you just about managed to hold on to that 2nd and 1st. What was the thinking there? Was that intentional, sort of trying to lunge up the inside, or did you just slightly miss a little bit of a braking zone?
No, I'll be honest, it was a bit of disbelief that he left the door open. I was like, what? He's going to come back across, right? And then I sort of just had to commit to down the inside, and ABS kicked in, and I just went straight into the side of him. I was a bit confused. I was like, why is the door open here? Like a hairpin. I was like, whoa, okay, this is weird. Just based on like how he was driving the rest of the race, and, you know, final lap, you would have thought he'd be super defensive, and door was wide open. I was like, oh, okay, here we go. And yeah, I had to commit just a bit too late, and yeah, ABS kicked in, understeered straight into the side of him, and yeah, just happy we both got away with that. To be honest, it would have been my bad, obviously, but yeah, I was caught off guard really by him not going defensive. So yeah, that was all it was. So yeah,
you did almost open the door for Oliver behind you, but in the end, he sounds fairly happy with 3rd place. But by the sounds of it, you may well be able to get another pint out of Lee actually at the Hop Cavern. So it may well, you know, still be a productive evening yet.
Yeah, for sure. Although he's probably going to change the contract again like he did last season and give me half pints. So yeah, I'll be waiting for your AI generated contract picture again. That was quite funny last time. He sent me a picture of me signing a contract saying half pints only if I win. But yeah, no, it's all fun and games, and yeah, I hope he really enjoys it. He's got a picture of a series ages ago. I think you were commentating on it, Jack. The World Touring Car Championship where. We ran the black and blue and black and pink BMs.
Oh yeah. Iconic livery.
Yeah. So he's got that on the wall. That was a mega championship as well. So yeah, we're plastered all over in the Hop Cavern. So yeah, it's always good.
I love that. Fantastic stuff, Jack. Big congratulations on a successful evening's racing by anybody's standards. You know the script. Go on. Think of someone else. Is there anybody you'd like to give a shout out to?
Yeah, I'd like to give a shout out to Chris. Actually, he's been running the servers all night, and
He has.
I think he's been stressing out of his mind, especially at the start where it didn't work, and everyone was sort of asking him questions, and I think he held his head pretty high at the end of that. He sorted it out, got it working, and I think he did a mega job. And a big shout out to both you and Becky as well. I always like it when you're commentating. It's a pleasure to have you back, and yeah, Becky as well. She always does a mega job in the commentary as well. I know she did that solo run not too long ago in the Super Tours, and yeah, you guys do a mega job. I'm going to be watching it back tonight.
Never,
I think. So,
never again.
It is hard, Becky. You did do a brilliant job. Jack says the right thing. But thank you very much, Jack. You're making me blush. Or it might just be the heat coming off the window as well. It's hot in this room as well.
Yeah, or for
Jack,
me, I'm sweating still.
Go and have a shower, man. I'll let you go.
I think I will.
Thanks very much, and congratulations on a good evening.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Right, and on to a driver of the round. That's right. It's not. Yeah, you see, Steve. See, I've thrown something at you here. He knew that. He didn't know that this was coming, actually. So I do apologise. We're going to go to the driver of the round instead, and that driver is Kieran Haynes. Kieran, I mean, I'll be honest. We saw a lot of you. That's how you've got this driver of the round representation. You've had good race results, a couple of 4th places and 10th, and you've given us quite a lot of entertainment over the course of this evening. How has it been? Because I feel like you probably felt like you've not been quite quick enough for the top 3, but in that last race, it felt like something clicked.
Yeah. I mean, I knew I had the pace, but in race 1, I didn't know, but I had my traction all the way up. So I didn't have any traction coming out of any corners. So going into race 2, I knew I was going to be a lot quicker. So I was just getting up to pace again with my setup. And race 3, it just all clicked, and then I just randomly had the pace back, and I was just like, and then yeah.
Well, you were very, very quick. I like to see a competitive grid, and even if we see round 1, maybe go by the wayside slightly, you still picked up a good amount of points. I mean, were you confident going into this round that you had the pace to stick with the front and maybe go for those podium championship positions?
I mean, not really, because in practice I was a bit off pace, but I knew I had a lot more race pace than quali pace, so I knew I would be at the front, but not sure where. But I knew I would have the pace of the top 5.
Well, top 5 is exactly where you need to be on most tracks, isn't it? What we heard Oliver Gibson complaining about Losail. What's your opinion on it?
I think it's shocking. It's so tight, and there's like no overtaking spots. So it's just like you just got to dive bomb and hope for the best, I guess. So.
Well, I suppose there's a reason why bikes mainly use it over cars, I suppose. But it's been entertaining enough for us and for me and Becky in the commentary box, at least. If everybody was just lunging each other left, right, and centre, we wouldn't know where to look half the time. But congratulations on driver of the round, Kieran. A massive well done. I'm sure we'll be speaking to you next round. But is there anybody you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Yeah, I would like to give a shout out to my Swift Cooper, my mum and dad, and I would like to say well done to Jack, Josh, and Jacob, because it's their first round of this championship and have been quite good.
Yeah, actually, bang on the point. Scott Bugner's already given Jack Dickerson the shout-outs that he deserves as well, and saying that he should have won driver of the round. We picked you, Kieran, don't worry. But a whole host of drivers around you could have picked it. We could have picked them as well, so well done to everybody. Right, Kieran, congratulations. I'm sure we'll be speaking to you again next round. Richard John Neal may well have that pleasure in the next couple of rounds, but good luck with the practice and good luck for the rest of the series.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
And on to our final chat of the evening. It's Gabriel Norse. I'll be honest, I still messed that up through the final race. It's going to take me a while to get out of some bad habits there, Mr. Norse. But again, a brilliant race from yourself. You withstood all the pressure. Jack said you drove defensively. I thought you didn't drive as defensively as he was indicating. On pace, on merit, a race win. You must be buzzed.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that one. I think in the last 10 minutes, I was just full defensive mode because I knew
So he was right.
Was powerful. Yeah, that slipstream was just so powerful on the main straight, and I mean he was gaining 5/10 of that from that. But equally, every corner he was losing like half a tenth, so it kind of equaled out over the lap. But yeah, it was quite a decent race. I managed to get another really good start, which I've seemed to have managed in every one of these races so far. So yeah, it was pretty decent.
Well, Jack said that he feels like you won that race on the start line over T1. Come on, what's the secret? You must be doing something differently.
I think I'm just doing what the most obvious thing is. I'm not going to say exactly what it is, but
yeah, good. Well done. Well, you passed the test now. I thought you would fall into it.
A few practice sessions, I think they'll figure it out. But yeah, it's not the most difficult thing to nail, I don't think. But equally, it seemed like I was the only one to do it. So it's decent.
Well, you did the right thing. You answered it about as well as you possibly could, because I was trying to trap you a little bit there. But no, fair play. So rest of the season, then you're coming off the back of obviously a championship with the touring cars. You're obviously a demon in these as well. Is it rear-wheel drive? Is that your favourite thing, or is it just a case of you like some long wheelbases, or you're just a fan of every kind of driving? What is this your speciality? I suppose is what I'm trying to get at.
I mean, I definitely prefer rear-wheel drive to front-wheel drive. I think that front-wheel drive is just, in my opinion, a terrible way to go racing because it's just understeer central. But yeah, I mean, I just enjoy anything that's kind of slightly nimble and has a bit of downforce, really.
Well, I can't argue with that. I'm guessing these WEL cars, are they quite nimble? Because they look from the outside, especially the BMW, obviously, looks like it may well be quite a hefty bit of kit, but would you describe it as nimble?
I mean, compared to what you think it would drive as, it's quite decent on the front ends, as I think Jack was saying, but I mean, it's just a very planted car that's, like, not easy to drive, but a lot easier than other things to drive. So I kind of like more planted cars, and I also like that it has ABS on it, 'cause otherwise I would have been going straight in every corner.
I don't think I'd be able to go back to sim racing without ABS, to be honest. It's a very difficult thing to do, especially in a sim, I imagine. But you're absolutely right, they do seem like good fun to drive. Gabriel, a big thank you for everything you've done tonight. Obviously, a big congratulations for everything you've done tonight as well. You heard the script 100 times. Who do you want to give a shout out to? You have to think of somebody new now.
I think both you and Becky, you've been very good in the commentary, just like Jack was saying. And also Chris, I think, who was running it. I mean, as Jack was saying again, he's been very busy tonight trying to sort everything out.
You see that, Becky? You keep asking them to go through all their lists of who they want to shout out. Eventually, we'll get there. No, I'm joking. Big thank you very much, Gabriel, and big congratulations for everything you've achieved tonight as well. You've been brilliant.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Right, and I have to say, actually, Becky, it is worth shouting out. I meant to do it earlier on. He wasn't the driver of the round, let's face it, but Chris Blake, he did have a brilliant race 1. He had a below-average race 2 and 3. We were involved in far too many incidents, but a big shout out. He was in our hearts for the entire time because he did have a difficult job. Rich Hayden makes it look fairly easy running the server and driving, but when it's your first time, he had the server problems at the beginning. He did do a brilliant job, didn't he?
Yeah, he made sure in the end we got out racing. So yeah, thanks for that, Chris. Thanks for covering for Rich not being here and making sure we could obviously enjoy another evening of Tuesday night racing.
Yeah, and we have a championship order in front of us. It scrolled so quickly, Steve. I didn't even see how close it was at the top, but it's going to be very, very close, isn't it? Because it was Gabriel and Jack Smith right at the top of the order and separated by 5 points. There'll be fastest laps, there'll be various things that are involved with that. Oliver Gibson obviously is in third place, quite handsomely in third place, but that fight for fourth looks like it could get quite tasty quite quickly. Lee Pearcey, the lunge expert, shall we say, and Kieran Haynes in fourth place, who we've already spoken to once already this evening in this series. But a fantastic couple of races, fantastic 3 races that we've got here. And of course, we've already been told where the next round is. It is, of course, Imola, a place where everybody knows. Surely, Becky, everybody was going to be familiar with Imola. That BMW is pointing in a horrendously wrong direction going around that corner. But for anybody else who says Losail isn't that fantastic, you can't have complaints about Imola, can you?
No, and then the one after that, I will be back in the comments box, and it's Spa, so Ollie will get his elevation changes there. So we'll see if he's singing that same tune then, or if he's like, actually, no, I don't want this either. But I'm sure, again, it's iconic tracks, the next couple of ones, and a few more to come for the rest of the season. So I'll be tuning in next week, kind of behind the scenes, as I normally do when I'm not in comms. But yeah, again, another great race event this evening. I'm loving the longer races. It just means there's just plenty more time for action. And like I say, in the first 10 minutes, you feel like you've already had probably an hour's worth of racing in those 10 minutes. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. A bit more practice for everybody before the next one. And yeah, a few tweaks. And Kieran Haynes as well, with him saying about his settings not being quite right, that will be again a little bit daunting with him putting in good performances for the two races he did get those set up correctly. So yeah, once again, always great to be part of this. Thank you as well to the drivers for the kind words. I promise I've not paid them off. And yeah, pleasure as always to be alongside you, Jack.
Yeah, it is always a pleasure, Becky. Pleasure, Becky, as well. I was going for there. And you just previewed the first 3 rounds, actually. The 4th round, then it's, of course, Nurburgring. 60-minute races. 60-minute race, singular. And double points, though. So it could all be thrown out the window by that time as well. So, yeah, thrilling stuff. My name's been Jack Oliphant. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much to Becky. Thank you to Rich Hayden. We give him a lot of stick. But thank you for having us along from Rich. And, of course, Steve. We have Ian and, of course, Chris Blakey stepping in to run the servers as well tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure being your host. Please do tune in to VRRC next week for more World Endurance League at Imola. Good night.